Only 1 in 7 businesses works. That's the statistic nobody likes to talk about. So I didn't build one business, I built 9. And before you admire that, understand something first. Anyone who tells you to just follow your passion is already rich. That advice sounds beautiful when your rent is paid, your health insurance is covered, and failure doesn't cost you your dignity. But when you're young, broke, and trying to build a life, passion is a luxury you haven't earned yet. Here's the truth most people learn too late. The wrong decision is bad, but no decision is worse. And that's where most people ruin their lives, not by choosing poorly, but by standing still, by waiting, by overthinking, by getting paralyzed. I want to tell you why. And I want to tell you this now before you waste decades learning it the hard way. I'm 60 years old, and people ask me what that feels like. When you're 40, you still think you're young. At 50, you can fake it. At 60, there's no faking anything. You're on the back 9. And if I dropped dead tomorrow, it would be tragic. But it wouldn't be unusual. That realization changes how you see everything. When you're young, you think life gets worse because of bad decisions. But the research says something else. The number one regret people have across cultures, across incomes, across careers is not failure. It's this: they were too hard on themselves. They didn't forgive themselves. They didn't allow themselves to be happy. They spent years punishing themselves for things that, in hindsight, weren't that big a deal. And I know this because I lived it. In my 20s, I was an idiot. I got into UCLA, an incredible opportunity, and I rewarded California taxpayers with a 2.27 GPA, academic probation, multiple times. I nearly failed out. I wasn't worried. I should have been. I was selfish, aimless, floating through life like I had unlimited time. And here's the irony. Back then, I wasn't hard enough on myself. That kind of indifference could have destroyed my life before it even started. But something happened that flipped everything. I was in graduate school, 26, maybe 27, when my mom got cancer. You never feel poorer than when someone you love gets sick, because suddenly money isn't about status or comfort. It's access to doctors, access to treatment, access to hope. And we didn't have it. I watched my mother deteriorate. And cancer doesn't look like the movies. It's not graceful. It's brutal. It strips people down to something unrecognizable. And I stood there, broke and helpless, watching it happen. That moment burned something into me. I didn't want to save the world. I didn't want to follow some abstract passion. I wanted economic security. I wanted enough money so I would never feel that powerless again. That promise became my fire, and for decades, it drove everything. That's why I became comfortable with rejection. I ran for class president in high school, lost, ran again, lost, ran again, lost. So I ran for student body president, lost again. I applied to 9 colleges, got rejected by all of them. Then I appealed, and one said yes. That's all you ever need, one yes. Only 1 in 7 businesses works. So I started 9. And over time, it worked. I became a professor. I wrote best-selling books. People started asking me for advice. By every external metric, I was successful. But here's what I didn't understand until much later. Being hard on yourself works until it doesn't. From 40 to 50, that discipline was productive. After 50, it turned corrosive. The voice that once pushed me forward became the voice that told me I was never enough. And that voice doesn't just hurt you, it spills onto your marriage, onto your kids, onto everyone around you. I got married young, 23. She was wonderful. The marriage failed anyway, not because of her, because of me. I was immature. I wanted freedom. I was more comfortable being rejected by strangers than being vulnerable with someone who actually knew me. Years later, I married again. And this time, it worked. Not because I was richer, not because I was smarter, because I finally stopped keeping score. I stopped asking, what am I getting? And started asking, how can I show up better? That's what maturity actually is. Fatherhood changed me too. Here's how I define becoming a man. It's not age. It's not money. It's not sex. It's when you can say, I'm adding surplus value to the people around me. I complain less than I contribute. I'm a better father than my father was to me. And that last one still hurts. Because no matter how hard you try, you will fail the people you love. The question isn't whether you fail. It's whether you notice, whether you apologize, whether you do better next time. There's a moment I still think about. My son was 8 years old. He asked me to play catch. Just 15 minutes. I said no. I was busy. Or at least I told myself I was. I don't remember what I was working on, but I remember the look on his face. He doesn't remember the times I played catch. He remembers that I was always working. That's how this happens. Quietly, without drama. And you don't get those moments back. So let me tell you something most people misunderstand. Passion doesn't come first. Mastery does. Nobody dreams of being a tax accountant. But if you're good enough, you make a living. If you're great, you make a fortune. And as you get older, your passions change. You become passionate about taking care of your kids, reducing stress, helping your parents, having options. Anyone telling you to just follow your passion isn't paying your mortgage. Be realistic. Ask, can I be good at this? Will it support my life? And then work at it. Now let me ask you a blunt question. Would you have sex with you? Not just physically, emotionally. Do you take care of yourself? Do you smell nice? Do you make an effort? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If you wouldn't want to be with you, why would anyone else? I see young men now retreating online, finding AI that flatters them, avoiding real rejection, and slowly convincing themselves that real life isn't worth the effort. They could not be more wrong. Real life is messy, real connection is uncomfortable, but that's where everything meaningful lives. So here's the lesson I wish I'd learned earlier. Forgive yourself. Your wins weren't all you're doing. Your failures weren't all your fault. Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems. Stop being so hard on yourself. Close the laptop sometimes. Call your parents. Show up for the people who would miss you if you were gone. Because success without relationships is just noise. I'm 60 now, and I'm happier with less time ahead than I was at 30 when I thought I had forever. That's the irony. When you stop trying to be perfect, when you forgive yourself for being human, that's when life finally begins. Don't wait decades to learn that. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with the time you have left?